We have discussed what welfare economics is all about. We've also discussed how markets can give us efficient outcomes. But there's a third issue that we need to discuss, namely why markets will be so good at achieving those outcomes relative to other ways of organizing the economy. Look, this question goes back decades, and you may hear about it less now, but especially mid last century, there was a major debate among economists between, on the one hand, the capitalist system, and on the other hand, the socialist system. And Friedrich Hayek, a famous economist, wrote a very accessible article on the issue that I want you to read this week as well. It's an important part of reading. It's a nice way of being exposed to the economic literature, and well, actually, he does a great job in explaining the issue. So, what does he actually discuss in this article titled "The Use of Knowledge in Society"? Well, the opening sentence is, what is the problem that we wish to solve when we try to construct a rational economic order? Well, that's something that we just discussed. On certain familiar assumptions, the answer is simple enough. Put at their briefest, they are that the marginal rates of substitution between any two commodities or factors must be the same in all their different uses. Well, that's what we know now, thanks to the Edward Watts. The economic calculus which we have developed to solve this logical problem, though an important step towards the solution of the economic problem of society. So how do we actually organize society in a way that it produces efficient outcomes? It does not yet provide an answer to it. Why not, you may think? Well, the reason for this is that the data from which the economic calculus starts are never for the whole society given to a single mind, which could work out the implications and can never be so given. What does Hayek mean with those data? What did we leave out of the picture in sort of the second step that we made in this lecture? Well, markets bring supply and demand together. Market outcomes are the result of an interaction between demand and supply, but for that interaction to happen, the suppliers, the producers need to know what consumers want, and the consumers need to know what producers all have on offer. Those are the data that need to go back and forth to be able to get to an equilibrium, right? This is something that we implicitly assumed to be given, but in reality, this knowledge, those data, needs to be produced first and then exploited second. And so his article is aptly titled "The Use of Knowledge in Society." And here you see the date 1945. Yeah. It's actually a great article. I think it's one of the most read articles in economics, and it has also been chosen as one of the top 20 articles published in American Economic Review. You may also want to have a look at those two short YouTube videos on this classic article, and the links are here. And here there's a picture of Hayek shaking hands with, yes, President Ronald Reagan. Who doesn't remember him? Hayek was also actually a Nobel Prize winner in economics back in 1974. Who doesn't remember that? All right, so the question is now, how do we design a system that makes sure that opportunities for trading and also for changes in the production are identified in the first place and then exploited? in the second place. So, how do we create this knowledge so that we can actually use the tools that we just learned in the previous 2 clips? Because that is the absolute key. And without this knowledge, this is not going to work. And if certain systems, like markets, are very good at producing this knowledge, then that may be another reason why markets are so efficient. All right, so, and he, when discussing the free market, says that this is a way of leaving decisions, for example, how many shoes to produce, of which kind, to leave those decisions with those familiar with the rapidly changing particular circumstances of time and place. Because those needs change all the time. Right? Opportunities arise, but also close. And we need, for example, entrepreneurs in this shoe business to recognize those opportunities and then to quickly exploit them. And they can do this by using the price system to decide what to produce and what to buy for their production process. And in that way, by using the price system, that's something that you learned in Microeconomics 1, the information spreads quickly through the system. But only very few people know just enough to make those decisions based on prices. So there does not need to be this one central planner who knows everything and then implements the efficient solution. It's not going to work because the central planner will not get all the relevant knowledge. That entrepreneurs who have a drive to gather this knowledge and to exploit it. And if you're in the shoe business, you only need to know so much. So you need to know everything about capital labor that goes into the production process. You need to know everything about the needs of consumers interested in those products, but not many other things. And so, and those entrepreneurs help us to generate this knowledge and also to exploit it. So there's this continuous drive towards efficiency. And as a result, we may actually get in situations where everybody is best off, so that we get those corridor optimal allocations. And this price system that is being used in the free market is a true marvel, and that's what Friedrich Hayek stresses. The price system helps to convey the necessary information to actually get to the optimal outcome, because those reflect relative scarcity, and there's some nice examples in the paper by Hayek. So the price system helps, for example, shoe producers to solve very mundane economic problems. In the words of Hayek, fundamentally, in a system where the knowledge of the relevant facts is dispersed among many people, prices can actually coordinate the separate actions of different people. So the price system has been compared to language, but it's also a spontaneous order. That which is the result of human action, but not of human design. So prices bring together all of the dispersed information, all of this knowledge that is spread among all the millions of people in the economy, and as a result, then there are going to be changes in the product mix, in the allocation of production factors, and there's going to be trading, all based on the information incorporated in prices, and the result is what we just learned in the previous clip, and the result is a greater efficient allocation. So Hayek stresses that the markets are a wonderful way of achieving the predictable calculus, and vastly superior to the socialist system, where a bureaucrat actually tries to collect all this information and then at the central point, and then tries to steer all of the actors involved, and we know that from experience that it doesn't work so well. That's the reason why, for example, the Soviet Union collapsed. Now, there's this short summary of the main points of Hayek by Steve Horwitz, and yeah, if you can follow the summary, fine, then it means that you have understood Hayek's point. All right, so what have we learned today? First of all, trading and also changes in production in response to information contained in prices leads in of itself to efficient market outcomes. But only in the absence of market failures, and in the coming weeks we'll be discussing several sources of market failure that may actually uh, imply that the outcomes of markets are not so high in terms of efficiency. Yeah, and markets are a wonderful way of generating knowledge that is necessary to implement the efficient outcome, to achieve the efficient outcome, and also to exploit this knowledge very well.